Hey y'all, welcome to another episode of Life Unmedicated. Today is Tuesday, January 9th, and this is episode 86. That should be a hashtag, aka a number sign, not a dollar sign. Alright, so it's been a week. I feel like that's improvement. I know they're getting fewer and further between, but I am determined to do these until June because that will mark a year. And I promised myself that I would do them for a year just to track everything. So yeah, that is the goal, and I am determined to continue working towards that goal. I feel like sometimes it's pointless, but at the same time, I feel like today's will be pretty decent, so not too bad. They're not all pointless. The last one's probably pointless, but anyway. So I'm still like a little bit congested. So I'm so sorry if I like start coughing or like doing congested things. What can you do? So today, excuse me, we have a few things to talk about. So this weekend is my best friend's bachelorette. I know that I have mentioned it before. I am, in fact, the maid of honor. So it's been a lot of coordinating, a lot of planning that's gone into it. It's been a lot of communicating, which can be hard sometimes, especially when I feel like I forgot to give y'all an update, but I will have to do that afterwards because I don't want to go off on a tangent. Let me just write it down. Okay. Yeah, it can be really hard for me to communicate because I'm often second guessing myself. So, say somebody asks a question, unless it's like super straightforward, like a fact, like, oh, these are the facts. This information was given to me by such and such, or here we determined this before. This is what's been determined. If I get like pushback on something, or if somebody says, I don't really, well, that's the same thing as pushback. But anyway, I find myself always having to go to the person that in the group that I am closer with than like maybe other people, just because I feel like she knows, like we've hung out, with my best friend, and I feel like a few times over the year, more than a few times, like lots of times, I would say that we know each other pretty well, and I feel like she knows me well enough for me to be like, hey girl, like, what do you think about this? But I notice that I'm doing it a lot, and it highlights for me this issue that I run into where I'm always second guessing myself. And usually whenever I hit her up, I don't think that there's been a single time where she's been like, I don't agree, don't, you're wrong, or, the nice version of that. And so, I mean, I do feel validated in my experiences or my opinions, but it definitely, like I said, it shed a light on my, I mean, would you call that like an insecurity? I'm not sure. But I know that for me, I often overthink, and that causes me to second guess myself, and I'm sure that overthinking is a neurodivergent thing. And ADHD, specifically, as well as other neurodivergent diagnoses, but as I've said before, this is about ADHD. So, excuse me. What was I about to say? Oh yeah, so I mean, it's been interesting to see it like in real time, like after I noticed it. But everything is going good. Like the planning's going well. We had a couple of mishaps with things that were planned, but Honestly, I think I did kind of a good job with not getting super stressed out. Like we had a situation with the party bus at the last minute. They offered a solution. It wasn't the exact same, but it is like more than sufficient. I feel like historically I would have gotten upset about that or started stressing out about it because it always takes me a long time to like adjust my mind frame, like switch cognitive sets. If I have an idea in mind for something, I want to go with that idea. It's annoying, but it's something that I've definitely talked about on here before. That's happened a few times with this bachelorette. Like I had ideas that I wanted to do for my hair, but as you can see, my braids are very much still intact, and I would be a plumb fool if I were to have spent hours and hours taking out my hair and then hundreds of dollars getting a wig installed because why? Because that's the idea I had? Like that, come on girl, I ain't even got money like that. So then my idea was to create or, add, I'm gonna just set that down. My idea was to add I was going to goddess my knotless braids. I got the hair and everything, y'all. I got some cheap ass bundles off Amazon. Don't fool yourself. Go ahead and spend the extra $25 to $50 and get the actual hair that's for boohooing, or what do you call it, goddess, whatever you call it. Because honey, I'm sending that hair right back, and as you can see, there's not a goddess. I gotta stop doing that. Oh my gosh, there is not a goddess lock or whatever. Not a lock, but you'll know what I mean. There's not a goddess lock of hair on these braids. So this is how I did curl the ends in preparation for the goddess situation, but it's what it is. I mean, I'm not tripping about it. Anyway, so I had to adjust, and that was like just an hour ago. I got to like the second braid and was like, this is ghetto. So I had to take it out. It was disappointing, but it is what it is. Like, we're gonna have a good time. That's all that matters. The party bus sprinter situation, we're gonna have a good time. Wasn't nobody really finna be on that pole anyway, except for me, because I take every chance I get to play around on the pole. But we're about to be in like formal outfits, so really, I don't know. I probably was not gonna be on the pole like that. Plus my upper body strength is poor. So, okay, aside from that, okay, sorry, let me wrap that up. So, as far as second guessing myself is concerned, I feel like I don't really know how I'm gonna resolve that one. I'm gonna have to talk to my therapist about it, because I feel like it's probably just a matter of like not doing it, or like noticing when I'm doing it and then kind of like grounding myself in facts, kind of like a cognitive distortion situation, or like imposter syndrome, and just kind of reminding myself of times when my intuition was right before, or my initial inclination was right before. But that's really hard. Like, I always feel like I'm gonna screw it up, or I'm not gonna say something right, or like I'm wrong. But it's okay to be wrong, and maybe that's the bigger problem. Like, maybe I'm really afraid to be incorrect, or to get things wrong, or to like ruffle feathers, Let me write that down for my therapy session. Sorry, y'all. Y'all know if I don't do it in the moment, what was I about to write down? Oh, connecting. Okay. Thank y'all for your patience. Yeah, so I'm going to talk to my therapist about that. So next, I noticed that, so actually we can kind of, oh, no, I already did adjusting. Oh. See, this is exactly why. I can never. Anyway, as far as adjusting is concerned, I think I'm getting a little bit better with it. But I have noticed lately, like I noticed I literally told my friend, I was like, most of the issues I have in my life, the bigger issue comes into play when I'm having, the bigger issue comes into play because I'm having such a hard time adjusting to these changes. So if an issue happens or a change happens, I find that I'm having a bigger or a harder time with the change or the adjustment because I'm not adjusting. So yet and still, it's something else I need to talk about. I mean, continue to work at during therapy. It's just really hard for me. I don't know why. I mean, it's an executive function thing for sure, but I just, it's just something that I just have a hard time with. But I think that knowing that I have a hard time with it makes it beatable or makes it like easier to what is the word I'm looking for? Easier, not easier, but I think it makes it, I guess I'll just say easier to overcome the barrier or obstacle, whatever. Okay, cool. So next, I find that I have been acting out lately when I feel rejected. And I act out in ways that bring me like immediate comfort. So say I feel rejected from like a guy or a date or something, I will take comfort in things that I know will bring me like joy or like a feeling of belonging. Healthy and maladaptive, unfortunately, but it helps. And that's the sucky thing about it. But I think what needs to happen is it's a big picture thinking situation, because although it helps in the moment, it's not going to help in the long run. And I need to remind myself of that in a very real way before I take action. So that's been difficult, especially like, I don't know, this was probably like a week ago. I was so sad, y'all. I cried. I boo-hoo cried for an hour. The entire therapy session, I was boo-hoo crying, like ugly cry, like chest back moving all like just, it was bad. I was so sad that day. And it was actually really scary because I haven't experienced that type of depressed mood in quite some time. Like even I know I mentioned that I had been depressed for a few weeks, actually a few months, but high functioning and then low functioning for a few weeks, in December. But even when I was low functioning, I did not feel that bad. Ooh, child, I had to take it to the Lord because it was out of control. But and I'm gonna just be really honest here, like, as a person and as a Christian, yes, God can do everything. God is capable of all things. However, sometimes it doesn't feel that way. And that's when we're not supposed to lean on our own understanding. But I have not been doing a good job of that. And I feel like it usually occurs when I'm feeling rejected or feeling unloved. And so I look for that in situations or like a situation. And it's just something that I have to deal with. But I can't help but feel like my ADHD, and I talked to my therapist about this too, and I was about to say it to her when she asked me. She said, do you think that your ADHD makes it harder for you to like stick to certain things? Because there is that air of impossibility, Lord. I am tired. There is that like aspect of ADHD, impulsivity, right? Executive dysfunction, it deals with like, your running memory, something like that, something with an R, memory, impulsivity, and there's another one, but I forgot. But that self-control, impulsivity part, I think that has a lot to do with it. And just like self-control and discipline and impulsivity, they all go hand in hand. So, for me, I'm going to have to really figure out how to step that up, because I can't keep like making excuses for myself when I know that I have to like move forward in a healthy way. Okay, cool. So that's that for that. I was supposed to give y'all an update. I mean, it's real basic. Like, I really haven't been doing much of what I'm supposed to be doing. And I'm just gonna suspend my goals until I get back from the bachelorette trip. So y'all probably won't hear back from me until Tuesday at the earliest, and then Tuesday is when I will re-implement goals, and also holding myself accountable for things, because this week is not it. It's been really hard to get back on track after I've been sick. I've been to the gym a couple times, but it's been hard to self-start, like going for a run in the morning. I've gone for a walk, and maybe I'll go for a walk tomorrow morning. I haven't been able to get myself out of the house under the guise of running. I can only get myself out of the house when I bust it down to a brisk walk. Like, okay, girl, you don't have to run, just go walk. And I mean, although that's okay, like, that's not really going to get me anywhere. So I have to do better. Aside from that, okay, so this is actually, wait, is that it? Yeah, I haven't really been doing much. The appetite has been fine. I've been eating decent, but not as often as I should. Like, I've been like having cheat meals way more often than I'd like to. And that's another thing. I feel like when I don't have like an immediate, like, for example, over the years, I've done the best with losing weight when I'm like losing weight for an event. And it always has been like a month or two before the event is when I really crack down. I've been working out for the past year and a half consistently, but my eating habits are trash adjacent. And so, I'm 33, so I don't lose weight like I did when I was 25. Like, that's just not happening. And so I try to create this lifestyle where I'm active and I'm healthy and this, that, and the third, but like, my gut would say otherwise. So it's hard because it feels like, for example, this weekend, right? I had a goal that I wanted to be halfway to my goal weight by now. I lost 10 pounds and then I got sick and gained it back. I haven't stepped on the scale because I don't even want to see the number, child. So, this week has been kind of like an F it week, because I'm like, well, the trip is on Thursday. Like, nothing's going to happen between now and Thursday. So I've been just kind of like, I mean, I haven't been eating crazy, but I could be doing better. And obviously I'm not motivated to go for a run either. So I don't know if that's ADHD or if it's just lazy, but it's frustrating. Very frustrating. Okay, and then the last thing, we're about to hit 20 minutes. So I'm going to try to make this quick, but it's actually it's pretty positive. So I'm not going to rush through it. So I realized in speaking with a child today that I don't know if I mentioned, I did. So I did mention before that I feel like I'm wanting a career shift. And it's been really hard for me lately to do my jobs, plural, because I've had so much going on in my personal life. Fortunately, it doesn't impact my ability to do my job. It just impacts my motivation to do my job. But I'm still doing a great job at my jobs because I am good at what I do. So anyway, today I was talking to a child and I was asking her a question, and she wasn't really giving me the answer that I wanted. Not specifically like verbatim word for word. She was just saying like the same thing, kind of like a blanket statement. She wasn't really getting into the nitty-gritty of things. So I tried to ask it in a different way. But she's not stupid. This little girl is so smart, y'all. She's like whip smart. Like, she's very smart. She reads a lot, and I know that that's why she's so smart. Anyway, so she kind of yells at me, and I mean, I'm not offended. Like, she's 10. So, I'm like, okay, like, let's breathe. Let's, like, calm down, and, like, let's move on, basically, because clearly she doesn't want to talk about this anymore. I asked her, I said, is there anything else you want to tell me about that? And she was like, no. And I was like, okay, cool, let's move on. So then we started talking about something that she wanted to talk about. And as we got to about like 15 to 20 minutes before we were going to part ways, I asked her, I was just like, I had brought something, or I had asked you a question earlier, and you got upset and you kind of yelled at me. And I was just wondering if you were comfortable telling me like why. And it really, after she started saying a couple of specific things, she actually really got to the nitty gritty of what was wrong. And she was telling me that she feels, and mind you, this is a little girl with ADHD. So she said that she feels misunderstood all of the time. And that people always tell her that she's like overreacting or taking things too personally, or being too sensitive. And she was like, they say it like it's a negative thing, and it makes me feel bad. And y'all, when I tell y'all, I could have literally started crying, because like I understand from such a personal place where she was coming from. I remember being that 10-year-old and feeling like nobody understood me. And then she said that like she experiences this thing where one of the adults in her life will just yell at her and be like, can you just focus? And that makes her feel really sad too, because it's kind of like, no, actually I can't focus, and it's frustrating for me too. And I understand that even as an adult, I have this like deeper understanding for how she feels because of my diagnosis and because of how it impacts me and my relationships and my day-to-day. And she was so frustrated, y'all. And it's so interesting because this is not my first or second or third or fourth time talking to her, but it just goes to show like people open up to you. We've been kind of doing casual things sometimes because I feel like that's how you build a relationship. And so sometimes we'll do like, what do you call those things? Riddles. She loves riddles. So we'll, she wanted to do riddles for like the entire meeting one time, and I was like, well, we can do it for the first 5 minutes and the last 5 minutes. So we did that for a few for a few meetings, and she really like kind of opened up about things that were going on like at school and things like that. But anyway, so, I think that although sometimes I feel like, okay, we should be doing more like structured things, I also completely acknowledge that even those casual things and even like casual conversations, I've been like, as far as my clients go, like I've been actually having casual conversations more often, because I was talking to my supervisor and she was just saying that, or was it my therapist? I can't remember. But one of them was just saying that like having casual conversations with your clients actually helps to build rapport. And I know that, but sometimes it feels like, why are we talking about this? But, out of the conversations that I've had that have been more casual lately, I've actually been able to pinpoint some really important like psychodynamic aspects of things. So anyway, this young lady, very casual relationship. Where was I? So we were talking about how she feels misunderstood and things like that, and I could see her getting frustrated. First of all, for me to be able to help her self-soothe, that was awesome to me. And I did end up telling her that I was diagnosed at her age, and I feel like that even that allowed her to be even more comfortable with me, because she had literally just got finished telling me that basically I'm too old to know what she's talking about. She didn't say it like that, but she was basically like, I don't even think adults should be able to give kids advice because y'all can't even remember what we're going through, because basically I'm so old. And I was just like, well, yeah, I got a couple decades on you, but I actually remember, pretty well, like, how I felt and how things made me feel. And, like, let's be real, if you peer support is great, but you can't have another 10-year-old telling you, what to do in certain situations or walking you through certain situations, because it's like the blind leading the blind. I said that in a kid way, but like, let's be real. But anyway, so she actually understood what I was saying, and she was kind of like, okay, I get it, But anyway, so she starts getting frustrated, and, I didn't really know I had this in me, but I calmed her down, and then this, thing came out of me. And I think it was because I identified so much with what she was going through. I just told her, I understand you're frustrated. Because the things that I was saying to her, they sounded very cliche to her. As adults, we know, when someone says something that may sound cliche, we know, where they're coming from. We have context. We have things that a 10-year-old would not have. So I had to tell her, I get that. I get why you're feeling frustrated, because what I'm saying to you, it's way easier said than done. But, we're here to work on it. And you don't have to put pressure on yourself to perform it tomorrow, because we're here to work on it progressively, step by step, day by day. It's not something that you literally have to, implement tomorrow. It's just something that we are going to talk about every time we have a conversation about this particular thing. And I know you feel frustrated right now, but I'm telling you this so that you know that you're not always going to feel this way, and that it's literally my job to work together so that you don't always feel this way. And when I tell y'all, her face lit up. Not only did she smile, but her eyes, there was hope in her eyes. And for me, that was everything. And it made me feel like maybe I don't need a career change. Maybe I just need a pivot. Do I want to work with kids, specifically kids with ADHD? I'm not sure. I cried. I'm not going to cry now because I already cried my tears of joy. It just was very sweet. And it was very, I really don't know what the word was, but it's those moments that make all of the stress that is associated with doing what I do. It's those moments that make it all worth it when I see a breakthrough, especially seeing a breakthrough in a child, because kids are so honest and so pure, and a child will not mess with you if they don't mess with you, okay? And for her to feel comfortable enough to lay her burdens down, that to me just meant so much. So yes, today was a good day, and although some things went to crap in some areas, that was one thing that did not. And I really think we've turned a corner, and I think that our future work together will be even more effective because she trusts me, and I've earned her trust. And I'm so happy about that. Anyway, that is it for the day. I will not be recording at all this weekend. Not even gonna try, because I'm just gonna have a lot to do between facilitating and enjoying myself and the events we have going on. It's just not gonna happen. So thank you all so much. This is 30 minutes, so we can just pretend like I did 2 15-minute ones. How about that? Thank you all so much for joining. As always, I appreciate you so much. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you got something from this. Please don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. I love you all.